Hello and welcome to Hyper Production TV. In this episode we're going to be looking at another DAW introduction, and today we're going to be looking at Ableton Live 9. So I'm going to go to my applications here, I'm going to click on the application and it's going to start opening, it's going to scan a few plugins and then it's going to create a set. Now this is the first window that you come to. It opens automatically for you, so unlike Logic you don't have to select sort of what project you want, you just go straight into it. Now there's two different types of windows that you get in Ableton. This is more sort of the performer window, which works really well with the launch pad that they released, and also Ableton Push as well. Sort of 16 by 16 grid of buttons that it corresponds with what's on the screen here. So you get these rows that go across and then down as well. And if you click these buttons at the end here, they play the whole line bit by bit. So that's how you can really get making songs quickly and sort of as fast as you can really, and try and get that creativity out of you as soon as possible. And the other window here is the more traditional arrangement window that you get in sort of Logic and Cubase and things like that. And this is where you sort of record your MIDI and you can actually see what the MIDI notes are doing. But I'll explain in another tutorial a bit later how sort of both of them integrate with each other. But for now, we'll just look at this window here, the sort of the main arrangement window. Now the way you get your sounds up here is if you click along sounds. These are all the stock ones that come with Ableton anyway. For example, let's go on here and then double click on this sound and it will open up at the bottom here. Now this is where all your sounds are going to be, and your effects as well. It's not like in Logic where they're sort of separate, your instruments and your audio effects are separate. They all fit at the bottom here nicely. Most of the time your instrument will be at the first, just to the left, like reading a book almost, and then you go along to the right, and that's how the chain works there. So I'm just going to press my key here quick. So there you go, there's some quite nice sort of, as it says here, of ambient and evolving sounds. So if we go down, in fact let's close that one, let's bring up some basses. So what's this one, Amber? Okay, let's double click on that one, and if you just double click them, it will replace the whole channel for you. So it's actually a lot quicker, I find, using this way. And then in Logic we have to sort of scan through and then obviously delete one plugin to make room for another almost, whereas here you just do it and it does it all for you. So let's have a listen to this. Yeah, that's pretty cool as well. A lot of the stock sounds, I really love the sounds that come in Ableton. I think they've worked really hard on trying to get the most interesting experimental sounds that they can. And even the more traditional sounds they've really worked on, and they do sound really great. So let's click on some mallets here and let's have a listen to these. Let's try something a bit more traditional. So piano and keys, let's have a look. So abstract piano. Grand piano classic LA stack. Let's have a listen to this then. Sound really nice. I'd definitely say Ableton is far better for electronic music than any other program. I just think the sound of it. Now, what I mean by the sound, believe it or not, different DAWs actually sound different. It's just down to sort of the coding that's behind and the scripts that are written for each of the programs. Now, I find that Ableton handles a lot more sort of low-end frequencies, not necessarily in a sort of traditional way, but more in an artificial sense. So it works really well for electronic music when you've got a lot of synthesized sounds and a lot of electronic sounds. It seems to handle them and place them within sort of the DAW really nicely, and you can sort of hear all the elements. And to me, it does sound synthesized, it does sound electronic, and that's, you know, if you're making that type of music, that's exactly what you want. I find with Logic, as great of a program it is, it's a lot more traditional and it's a lot more clean sounding. If you're recording bands and doing sort of traditional sort of recordings, it's phenomenal for that. And the handling of it is great, and it will give you the most sort of honest and accurate recording that you can. Whereas Ableton has a sort of more playful, creative sound to it as well. So as I say, for electronic music, it's absolutely great, and it sounds amazing. I find it sounds like no other DAW out there. So we'll just quickly go through a couple more other sounds here. If, for example, that your keyboard is not coming up or it's not playing, up at the top right here, if I press my keys, you'll see here a little yellow flashing light. That's to tell you that there is a MIDI signal going through the program. Now, if you're not receiving that, you've got your MIDI keyboard plugged in and you're pressing keys and nothing's happening, do not fear. Click on live here and then go to preferences. Then you're going to go down to MIDI sync. And then you're going to click on the drop down box here. Now, if you've got the latest version of Logic, it should have your type of MIDI keyboard in here. It's got a whole range of MIDI keyboards here. If it doesn't, just click on whatever, it will show up here. If it doesn't, then you need to go back and have a look at your installation of Ableton, or just double check that you've got all the up-to-date software for it, because it will show up here. When I bought my new Complete Control S49, I didn't do anything. I literally just plugged it in through the USB and it worked, and it just showed up like that straight away. And it also happened on my old M Audio keys 49 key MIDI keyboard as well, and it just showed up automatically. If you do have any trouble, like I say, refer back to the Ableton website and just troubleshoot a few things, but 99.9% sure that it will just work straight away. And then you just click on here, and then it's simple as that, and then you'll be hearing some sounds. Now, if you refer back to my other video of installing third-party plugins, with Logic it's a little bit different. With Ableton, if you just follow the installation plugins folder like I did for the Logic Pro 10, for Ableton they'll show up exactly the same. So if I click on plugins here, and then all my audio units are there, Ableton is so well programmed that it just finds everything automatically for you, and it will just run everything perfectly and flawlessly. So like I said, if you refer back to the installation of plugins for Ableton, it will work exactly the same. It may not seem like the same correct path, but if you just follow that video, Ableton will work exactly the same. So I'll put a sort of chain of events of what folders you need to follow again in the description, so you know where to install those third-party plugins. But as I say here, so if I just bring up, I don't know, let's bring up Nexus 2, and it will replace everything at the bottom here eventually. There we go. So there's Nexus. There you go. If you're wondering what the synth is that I've got up, I'll be putting a link in the description as well, and I'll also be doing another tutorial going in depth with the synth. It's a really powerful synth. Well, I don't know if you can call it a synth really. It's more like it's a sampler, which basically it's just recalling sounds that you'll allocate a file to, and it'll just recall those sounds. So it's not really a sampler, although it does have so it's not really a synthesizer, but it does have a few functionalities of a synthesizer, but it primarily is or what they call a rumpler, sort of a sampler coming from your computer. But as I say, I'll go over that a bit more later with you. Okay, so I'm just going to quickly go on to now how to basically apply an effect on a strip. So here we go. You just click on these blank spaces here to select each one, and then we'll go on audio effects, and we'll just, for example, click on amp, and then you can either double click them and it'll appear automatically, or you can just drag and drop, and there you go. So now see how that's changed. If you want to switch it off, just click here, top left, on. Just a little bass amp that just comes with with Ableton itself. So I could delete that. All you do is delete, just click in an empty space at the top there. If you don't, it'll come up highlighted. So see the difference? Not highlighted, highlighted. Press backspace, and then it will delete, and you just got a fresh open track. Now, if you go to the right here, on each channel going down, it will tell you whether it's a MIDI or an audio channel. And if you want to add a different channel, if you just go up to create, and then either insert audio track or insert MIDI track. So if we click there, you can insert an audio track, or if we go there, insert a MIDI track. There are some keyboard shortcuts there as well. So Command and T for an audio track, Shift, Command and T for a MIDI track. Now you see these numbers here that say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. These are basically just on-off switches for the channel, so you can switch them off and it will take it out the mix or put it on. Now I know what you're wondering, why don't they just put a mute button? I don't know. Is the answer. That's the way they've just done it. For me, it actually works a little bit more intuitively, I think, actually, because it kind of says like, oh, this channel's on or is it off. And if you just want to solo something quickly as well, it takes all the other channels out for you, and then you just take that off, put some more back in. It kind of works a bit quicker than the mute button, I find. I kind of got used to that one really quickly. I did start out on Logic, but I'm really getting to grips with a lot of the functionalities in Ableton and realising the efficiency of a lot of their functionalities. And obviously, to record anything, you need the record mode on there. So as you can see, my vocal is just popping up through there as well. So if we click on the MIDI channel, obviously it's not going to show up. But if I press MIDI, there we go. Because I'm pressing the buttons on my keyboard, it's showing up there saying that there's a MIDI signal coming in. So that's another really handy tool as well, to show that your computer's actually receiving the MIDI. And then obviously, because I haven't got a instrument opened up, so if I go on plugins again, audio units, and if we just go on one of these, drag and drop, computer's been a little bit slow today. There we go. So if we go on there, and then that bit will switch to a volume meter rather than just checking if there's MIDI coming through. There you go. Not the greatest bit of keyboard playing from myself, but we'll make that do for now, just to show you how that's going on. So like I said, click off that, and it'll just show you the MIDI signal coming back in again. Okay, I hope I've covered all the basics of just opening up Ableton and getting the first bit set up. Also how to open MIDI and audio channels, and how to load in effects and instruments. If you do have any questions, please leave them in a comment in the section below, and please don't forget to subscribe, and please share any of the videos to any of your friends or family that you think it might help them in some way towards music production. Take care and goodbye.